Hi guys! I'm Madeleine Harvey, and thank you so much for hanging out with me today. We're going to be talking about 5 ways that the voice goes flat and what we can do at home to keep our voices from going flat. So if you like today's video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up or click that subscribe button below. I would love to see you here more often. The video that you're about to see was taken as a clip from a live voice lesson that we shot earlier today. If you'd like to watch the entire live, it's about an hour long, and participate in some of the exercises, well then I invite you to click that join button below and become a member of this channel. As a member, you'll have exclusive access to all of our live voice lessons that we do every Monday and Thursday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. So again, click that join button below. Membership is only $4.99 a month. And it helps to support our channel. That way we can continue to deliver awesome vocal content for you. You ready to get started? Here we go. Hi everyone! Welcome to our live lesson today. We're going to talk about 5 things you can do to keep your voice from going flat. This is, like many of the topics that we talk about in our live lessons, tends to be a heavy thing, a big thing. There are lots of reasons why your voice could go flat. We're going to talk about 5 of some of the most common reasons. We'll talk about what makes it go flat, and of course, what's the medicine for that, what can help you from keeping your voice from going flat. So I just want to say, if you are a new member, I'm so happy that you're here. Thank you for joining our musical family, our musical community. We do these live voice lessons every Monday and Thursday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time, so we hope to see you there. So happy that you're here. And also, we're going to get into a lot of information today. If at any point you want to ask a question, by all means, this is a nice gathering of friends. So be sure to leave your question in the comments. We'll address that, but make sure you leave lots of question marks at the end of it. That way I can spot it as a question. So one more thing before we jump right in. We have almost 9 hours of voice lessons available on Skillshare. We've got 3 modules there. So if you like learning and you want to dive even deeper into your voice, be sure to check out the modules on Skillshare. We've got even more coming. This particular live actually came as a question from BB. So BB, if you're on, this one is for you, love. I would like to request an audio on fixing flat notes. My recordings lately have been flatter than a desert. Oddly, I sound mostly fine without the cell phone recorder. I think I get nervous. Well, we're going to really dive into that specifically. So there are 5 things to keep in mind. We're just going to jump right in. I just want to say, there seems to be an attitude amongst singers that we're supposed to be perfect, that we're supposed to just be able to sing, and that everything that we sing is on pitch. And I just want to be on record and say that's absolute hogwash. That's absolute baloney. You're not deficient in any way if you notice that your voice has a tendency to go flat or to go sharp. These types of things have to be dialed in, oriented in the same exact way that a musician, let's say a violinist or guitarist, has to tune their instrument every time they pick it up to play it, because those instruments are affected by environment, just like we are. Our energy level, our breathing level, if we got enough sleep or what we ate, all those types of things can affect our ability to sort of be on, so to speak. So don't think that you're broken or deficient in any way if you just feel like, I kind of struggle with this. I really struggle with this. And don't let it surprise you if you might have to work a little harder than you might have expected you had to do. Really think of it as like, again, you can think of it as like a musician or maybe even a ballerina. You know, you're not really born a prima ballerina. It takes years and years and years and years and years of work. However, don't get yourself down about the work. Enjoy the work. Enjoy the simplicity of the work. So let's get into it. I just wanted to say that there's no some scientists even believe that, you know, when people say, I have perfect pitch. No. A lot of scientists actually think that that doesn't even exist. Like, that's a myth. Exactly what perfect pitch is let's say you don't even need a reference. You don't need a reference. You don't need to hear, let's say if I play this note, you know, if I obviously I know what it is, I press it so I can see it on the keyboard. But let's pretend that I didn't see what it is. Well, I'd be able to hear it and then match it and then sing it. That's not perfect pitch. Perfect pitch is that you can say to me, Madeleine, sing an F note. And I would just be able to spit it right out without any reference or anything or any warm up. Or so although there are beautiful freaks of nature that exist in some people, it's almost mythological, perfect pitch. So just take that burden off your shoulders. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be perfect. One more thing I will say before we get started, I promise this is the last thing. Think of your pitch matching accuracy, pitch accuracy, as being akin to like a batting average. You can get 7 out of 10 and still end up in the Baseball Hall of Fame. So think of it like that. And you know, if you like to listen to a lot of music from the 50s, 60s, 70s, I even really enjoy listening to music from the 30s, where they didn't have any sort of pitch listening anything, and they didn't have any auto-tune. So their voices were really nuanced and quirky and sometimes weird and sometimes off. But there was something really wonderful that was happening with the voice that made that make the record, make the cut, so to speak. So let's see if we can get back to that, like where we're allowing the voice to be authentic and we're aiming for accuracy, but we're not hankering down in our mind and punishing ourselves if we don't get every single pitch perfect. Can we make a promise? Can we strike a deal and say, I'm going to give myself permission to just sort of learn as much as I can, but still keep it nice and loosey-goosey and something that is a pleasure to experience? Because I would be down for that. Okay, jumping right in. The first thing, and actually this is the number one from what I've seen from singers. The reason why the voice goes flat is because the voice does something called searching, where it just sort of searches for the sound. You'll notice that your voice does this if it slides around a little bit. And this is because we may be singing a song that we think we know, and we might have listened to it and sung along, but when we're singing, we're not singing and listening simultaneously. So we've got to separate the two of those. When we're singing, and we're more hearing our voice rather than the voice on the recording. So what your voice is going to end up doing is sort of making its own best guess as to what it thinks the next note is. And there it goes, kind of, it's like searching up and down for that right pitch. This is incredibly common. And so the medicine for this would be you're going to like this. You're really going to like this. It's going to scare you, but you're going to like this. The best medicine for this would be to listen to one small segment of a song. Let's say the first sentence of a song. Then pause it and see if you can hum or huh the melody and completely recreate it. Now, you will also need like a pitch listening app to kind of help you with that. That way, again, your pitch is kind of being revealed to you, and you can kind of aim towards it based off of what it's revealing in terms of what the melody is. But you can see, first of all, when you take those words away, just how little we actually may know the song. Because we associate pitch to a particular word, right? And that's how we learn. But when we take the words away and we're just humming, or we're doing like huh, then we can see exactly what we think that pitch is. And we may notice that there's a little bit more of a variance there than we maybe initially thought. But be sure to have something like an app or a software that's listening and it's showing you what the pitch is. And if you want, have that same listening app playing while you're listening to the recording to at least show you what it should be. Pause and see if you can recreate that, but without the words. This frees you from having to do like a particular tone quality or particular style or anything like that. It's just your voice and the pitch. So completely a cappella. That is exactly how I would recommend. You're going to get really, really good relatively quickly, even though it's somewhat frightening when you first do this. Because again, it's a little devastating to go, oh, I really thought I knew that song better than I actually do. Because when you're singing, you might be listening, but what you're listening to is you. You're not listening to the original artist. So listen, pause, sing, and watch that app and see if you can recreate it. But be very gentle with your voice. That is specifically my favorite way to practice. I love it. Love it. So the second, this is also incredibly common. These are in the order of how often I see them. The second reason why the voice goes flat is we get a little too attached to tones. We get a little too attached to a particular tone. So think of it like this. Your head, your skull space, is a particularly like a shaped bell. It's got a specific shape to it. So the shape of your, let's say, throat to jaw and mouth to nose to head resonances may vary from the original artist. But if we're trying to recreate like an exact tone quality, that might be contrary to our actual voice. So for example, my voice tends to be quite bright. So if I go like, Gak! I know that's really annoying, but that's a really good example of just how bright my voice is. Gak! Very annoying. So it's easy, but I don't want to necessarily make everything sound that way, even though that feels authentic and balanced. I want to add a little bit more warmth. So I may want to go, ga, ga, ga. So I'm trying to pull or at least share some of that resonance sort of with the mouth and make it a little bit more sophisticated, a little bit more warmer, just something that I would enjoy listening to. But if it starts as you're playing with tonal color and you're just trying to get that exact quality you're looking for, if you notice, again, you're watching on your pitch listening app, if you notice that pitch starts to pull down, you've gone too far, and that's a good heads up. That's where I would err all the time, because I want to sound all grown up. I've always had like a little kid kind of voice, and I wanted to sound like grown up. So I would try to make my voice sound warmer. And when I did that, it literally pulled my pitches straight down. And that became a habit. So therefore, pitch got really hard to sort of reorient. I had to learn about my own acoustics, which is exactly what the medicine is. So let's take this neutral sound, just like neutral sound. And actually, let's do this really quickly together. We're going to start around A3. And what we want to do is we're just going to see, where does this note feel like it's resting in my voice? I call it target practice. It's also another one of my favorite things to do, because we're just going to let everything rest and hang. So the jaw is going to pretend like you're going to sleep. There's no shape going on in the back of the throat. The tongue is just resting inside of the mouth. Nothing is distorted or, distorted. or pulled or pushed in order to create a specific tone quality. We're just kind of drooling it out. We're just literally going to drool it out. But I want to see if you can feel where that A sits in your voice. So a better way to say this is don't make it happen, let it happen. So here we go. On a H, H-U-H. Yeah. Good. Now just let it sit, let it rumble. Feel that those two notes are in totally different spots. I'll go ahead and show that to you again just in case you missed it. So I'm going to go. Can you hear how actually far away they are? Just from two or a semitone. Good, let's try B natural. Yeah, just notice where it's going inside of your head. See how you don't have to move at all? The pitch is going where the pitch belongs. Good. I'm going to point that out for your guys' listening ears. Now, this is my experience of my voice. You may feel that those two notes are really close to each other, but here, just like, what was that? A to B flat. Here, how far away D and E flat are in my voice. Can you hear that one is down here and the other one's up here? Yeah. Now we're just wanting to get familiar. Pitch is something that your body has to feel its way through. The ear is deceptive. It's a tool, but it's really, really deceptive. Sometimes we can't trust it. A la if we're at a gig and the sound check is not working, our inner ear monitors are not working. Yeah, and we can't hear ourselves, but we can feel our way through it. Good. Right here. Be really, really, really still. Just see if you can go. Now what we're doing is called a chromatic movement, meaning we're going step by step. Going step by step, and we're just exploring where that pitch needs to go. Now we're not putting it there. The whole point of the exercise is to let the air take the pitch where it needs to go without us getting too involved. Now, let's say, I bet you could hear this. There's a section, and this is why the mix is just horrific for almost everyone, because the pitch will go up the back of the throat through what's called the nasolarynx or the nasal port, kind of sneaks up right behind that soft palate. And there's like a hallway there. Imagine it as a hallway that's going to connect two rooms in a house. So like our room would be the mouth, the hallway, and then maybe the living room, the nose, right? So we've got to be able to walk through the hallway and to go into that next room of our voice. So when we get into this nasal port, for me, this began on the F sharp, So let me give you the F. Kind of feeling it right in the back of my mouth. Of course, there's shared resonance at my nose, but can you kind of hear it kind of marching up the back there? If we don't have some sense of how to aim our voice and just allow for that natural climbing of the pitch, we're going to interfere. And we're especially going to interfere around that nasal port. We're going to start pushing the voice. And you're already going, oof, 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 and you're concerned because it doesn't sound natural. It doesn't sound like I have control over the sound. So try not to be a little attached to the tone as you're playing with this. Look at this as how you are kind of tuning your voice just by getting to know the way that pitch needs to kind of move throughout the head space. Once you get accustomed to that, especially with a neutral because we're not pulling on any section. We're not pulling on the throat. We're not overemphasizing anything. We're just kind of taking everything away from the voice and seeing, can we stay relaxed as that air goes up where it needs to go? If you've hit a spot that is unfamiliar for you, it'll shake like Tarzan. And that's great news. That's great news. That means you've allowed your voice to go somewhere that you did not allow it to go before. So just keep touching it without that interference. The better you get at this, then you can start blending and playing with colors and all sorts of wonderful things. And you can get closer to that tone, let's say you were aiming for, before that pitch was sacrificed to the god of tone. So, all right, that one was a little long, but it was very, very important. I call that exercise target practice. So just keep everything nice and loose. If you've got a piano, great. Your pitch listening app will also be your friend. You can randomly pick a sound and then see if you can move the voice up and down from that space. So we can be flexible. Okay, the third one